Turning now to Gaza, Israel appears to be intensifying its assault on Gaza City. On Saturday, the Israeli army destroyed a second residential high-rise, and aircraft dropped thousands of leaflets calling on residents to evacuate to the south. But with designated safe zones regularly targeted since the start of the war, many Gazans say it makes no difference whether they flee. Around 1 million people live in Gaza City, the largest urban center in the enclave. The Israeli army says it's already taken control of 40% of the area. For the latest, let's cross to Jerusalem and check in with our correspondent Noga Tarnopolsky. Noga, what more can you tell us about the situation in Gaza?
Good morning, Allison. Well, it's grim news. More than 60 people were killed in Gaza in the last 24 hours, killed by Israeli fire. 1/3 of them, apparently, from what we're hearing from the Hamas health authorities, 1/3 of them were seeking aid. So were killed somehow in this fracas that continues to take place outside aid distribution sites. The Israeli operation in Gaza does not yet appear to be causing mass casualties, but is really advancing. To the best of my knowledge, 3 towers, these towers that really characterized the skyline of Gaza City, were brought down, and we have not been given specific reason for these actions by the Israeli army. It may in fact be that it's symbolic, that destroying the skyline of Gaza is a symbol for now of the ravages that the Israeli army is still planning at the time of its more major invasion. We're kind of at the outskirts of the major invasion. Not all of the Israeli reservists needed for this have even been recruited just yet. And we also have these videos of Israeli hostages held by Hamas. In the case of one of the videos with hostage Guy Gilboa Dalal, who's a 24-year-old, it's one of a rare piece of footage showing him being driven around what appears to be Gaza City. And the message seems to be from Hamas that as long as Israel intensifies and escalates its war in the city of Gaza, it is endangering more and more acutely its own hostages still being held by Hamas.
And meanwhile, Noga, there were more massive protests in Israel on Saturday, and you're hearing that there may actually be some movement going on in the way of a ceasefire.
Right. This is all very confusing because the war really is escalating. This is not a pseudo-war being used as psychological pressure, as some speculated about Israel's new operation in Gaza City. This is full-on war. But we are getting reports from Israeli sources principally, despite the fact that there is no Israeli negotiation team in Doha, in Qatar, in Egypt, or in any of the places. What we are hearing from Israeli sources is that Egypt, the United States, and Qatar are scrambling to put together what is being called a comprehensive ceasefire proposal. Let's take a step back. Hamas had signed on more than a month ago now to a partial ceasefire proposal. In other words, Hamas had agreed to what Israel had asked for before, which was about a 60-day truce and the release of about half of Israel's living hostages in exchange for in exchange for Palestinian prisoners in Israeli jails. After Hamas agreed to this, the Israeli government simply failed to respond, neither yes nor no, and Prime Minister Netanyahu announced that Israel would only accept a comprehensive deal, in other words, a deal freeing all the Israeli hostages and leading to an end to the war, what he had rejected previously. And so now we're hearing that a new comprehensive deal, a deal that could bring to a real end to the war with the redeployment of Israeli forces, that this is being negotiated very much behind the scenes, and that this new operation in Gaza City could even be halted as a result of these negotiations. But this really is behind the scenes right now, and it seems to be being held, the negotiations seem to be being held mostly in Washington, D.C. We know that Ron Dermer, the former Israeli ambassador to the United States and one of the closest aides to Prime Minister Netanyahu, will be in Washington this week, and that may be part of this let's say, backtrack of negotiations.
All right, we'll be keeping a very close eye on that. Noga, thank you so much, as always, for your updates. That's our correspondent, Noga Tarnopolsky, reporting there from Jerusalem.